Welcome to Ace My Exams Learning. Let us get started with today's learning.
Life Science Grade 10 Revision. The diagram below shows an animal tissue. Question: identify the tissue shown in the diagram. The tissue shown in the diagram is ciliate columnar epithelium. This is a type of epithelial tissue made up of tall, column-shaped cells that have tiny hair-like structures called cilia on their upper surfaces. It commonly lines the respiratory passages, where it plays an important role in protecting the body by trapping and removing dust, germs, and other unwanted particles from the air we breathe. Question: what is the structure labeled B? The structure labeled B is the nucleus. The nucleus is the control center of the cell and contains the genetic material, DNA, that regulates the cell's activities. In ciliate columnar epithelial cells, the nucleus helps coordinate mucus production, maintain cell structure, and support the functioning of the cilia that keep the respiratory system clean. Question: which letter shows the part that traps dust in this tissue? The letter A indicates the part responsible for trapping dust. Although A specifically points to the cilia, their action works together with mucus produced by goblet cells. The goblet cells release sticky mucus that traps dust and germs, while the cilia sweep this mucus upward and out of the respiratory tract. Therefore, part A highlights the cilia, which play a key role in the removal of trapped particles. Question: explain how the ciliate columnar epithelium is structurally suited to perform its function. One structural adaptation of this tissue is the presence of goblet cells, which secrete mucus. This mucus forms a sticky layer that effectively traps dust, germs, and other particles entering the airways. It also keeps the inner surfaces moist, preventing them from drying out and becoming damaged. Another structural feature that suits this tissue to its function is the presence of cilia, represented by A in the diagram. These tiny, hair-like projections beat in a coordinated manner to move the mucus, along with all the trapped dust and microbes, out of the respiratory system. This continuous upward movement helps keep the air passages clean and reduces the chances of infection or irritation. Question: explain the adaptations of xylem tissue for its function. One adaptation of xylem tissue is that its cells are elongated or joined end-to-end, forming long, continuous tubes. These tube-like structures provide an efficient pathway for transporting water and dissolved minerals from the roots to all parts of the plant. Another adaptation is that xylem cells are non-living and contain no cell contents when mature. Because the cells are hollow, water can move through them easily without being slowed down by internal structures, making transport faster and more efficient. Xylem tissue also has thickened or lignified walls, which make the vessels strong enough to withstand the pressure created as water is pulled upward through the plant. This lignin prevents the xylem from collapsing and also provides structural support to the plant as a whole. Finally, xylem cells contain pits, which are small openings in the cell walls. These pits allow water to move sideways into neighboring cells or surrounding tissues when needed. This lateral movement ensures that all parts of the plant receive adequate water, even if certain vessels become blocked or damaged. Read and answer questions below. Grade 10 learners conducted an investigation to determine the effect of different light intensities on the rate of transpiration in leaves. The following procedure was followed. 1. Two leafy shoots of the same plant were used. 2. The leafy shoots were of the same age. 3. The leafy shoots were then labeled leafy shoot A and leafy shoot B. 4. Leafy shoot A was exposed to different light intensities. 5. Leafy shoot B was placed in a dark area. 6. All other factors affecting transpiration rate were kept constant. 7. Potometer was used to measure the rate of transpiration in both groups. 8. The results of the investigation were recorded in every hour for each group. The results for leafy shoot A are shown in the graph below. Question: what is the dependent variable in this investigation? The dependent variable is the rate of transpiration in leaves. This is the variable the learners measured using a potometer, and it changes in response to the conditions of the experiment. Because the purpose of the investigation was to see how light intensity affects transpiration, the rate of transpiration is the outcome being observed and recorded each hour. Question: what is the independent variable in this investigation? The independent variable is the different light intensities. This is the variable that the learners deliberately changed for leafy shoot, while keeping all other factors constant. By adjusting the amount of light the plant received, they were able to investigate how light intensity influences the rate at which the plant loses water through transpiration. Question: what was the effect of increasing light intensity from 0 to 5 on the rate of transpiration? When light intensity increased from 0 to 5 units, the rate of transpiration also increased. This happened because higher light intensity causes stomata to open wider to allow for increased photosynthesis. When stomata open, more water vapor escapes from the leaves, resulting in a higher rate of transpiration during the early stages of increased lighting. Question: why does increasing the light intensity above 10 not increase the rate of transpiration further? Increasing the light intensity above 10 does not boost transpiration any further because another limiting factor becomes insufficient, preventing any further increase in the rate. Even though the stomata may be fully open, factors such as carbon dioxide availability, temperature, humidity, or water availability inside the plant can limit transpiration. Once the plant reaches its maximum capacity, additional light cannot cause any further increase. Question: explain ways in which learners could increase the reliability of the investigation. Learners can increase the reliability of the investigation as follows. 1. By repeating the investigation. Repeating the investigation improves reliability because it allows the learner to check whether the same results occur consistently across several trials. When an experiment is conducted more than once, any random errors or unusual outcomes become easier to identify. Consistent repetition strengthens confidence in the accuracy of the findings. 2. By increasing the sample size. Increasing the sample size by using more leafy shoots helps make the results more reliable. A small sample may be influenced by natural differences between individual plants, but a larger sample reduces this effect. By including more leafy shoots, the learner ensures that the results better represent the average behavior of the plants being studied. 3. Calculate the average of results. Calculating the average of the repeated results further improves reliability by smoothing out any unusually high or low values. Averaging helps the learner obtain a clearer picture of the overall trend rather than relying on a single measurement. This makes the final conclusion more accurate and scientifically dependable. Question: list other factors that affect the rate of transpiration besides light intensity. Other factors affecting the rate of transpiration besides light are: 1. Humidity. Humidity affects the rate of transpiration because when the air around the leaf is already filled with moisture, the water vapor gradient becomes smaller. This means that less water vapor can diffuse from the leaf into the air. As a result, high humidity slows down the rate of transpiration, while low humidity speeds it up by creating a steeper gradient for water loss. 2. Temperature. Temperature influences transpiration by affecting the rate of evaporation inside the leaf. When the temperature is high, water molecules gain more energy and evaporate faster from the mesophyll cells. This increases the amount of water vapor inside the leaf, causing it to diffuse out more rapidly and thereby raising the transpiration rate. 3. Wind. Wind is another important factor affecting transpiration because moving air helps remove the moist air layer that surrounds the leaf surface. When this moist layer is blown away, the water vapor gradient becomes steeper, allowing transpiration to occur more quickly. Stronger winds therefore increase the rate of transpiration, while still, stagnant air reduces it. Question: why was Group B included in the investigation? Group B, which was kept in the dark, acted as a control group. The purpose of a control is to provide a standard for comparison so the learners can clearly see how light intensity affects transpiration. Without a control group, it would be difficult to determine whether changes in transpiration were truly caused by light or by other uncontrolled factors. Question: what conclusion can be drawn from the investigation? The conclusion is that the rate of transpiration increases as light intensity increases, but only up to a certain point. After reaching this point, further increases in light intensity do not cause any additional rise in transpiration because another factor becomes limiting. This demonstrates that transpiration depends on multiple environmental conditions, not just light.
To access more learning and exam preparation materials, go to www.acemyexams.coza. This link is also in the video description below. Thank you for watching this video. Remember to subscribe and be the first to know when we upload new videos.